Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Don Pod for another review, another loss, the third in succession. I'm joined by Nathan. Hello, Nathan. How are you this evening?
Oh,
Apart from football, just excuse football
oh,
for a minute.
yeah. Well, everything else is good. Yes, thank you. I made a
Good,
lovely
great.
dinner tonight.
Did you? What'd you make?
As often, oh, it was like a taco with roasted potato in it and cheese and dressing and stuff,
That
chicken.
sounds better than the lunch you provided a certain
Hey,
visitor
hey, hey! There's nothing
today.
wrong with sausages and bread, buddy.
No, well, there was, but anyway. Um, glaring, we're matching today.
Yes.
If you're not watching on YouTube or live, we are wearing matching attire. We've um trialed, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Some merchandise. So let us know what you think. Don Pod on the tracker cap there, which I'm going to take off because it does not suit my head. And a lovely little jumper.
Oh, it is very comfortable. Very comfortable. I'm
Very
not normally
comfy.
a
My
jumper guy. I
God.
must admit, I'm more of a shirt flanny sort of guy.
Yes, I can vouch for that. He is.
But this is
Um,
quite comfortable.
with a little, we're short of tall under the logo. You
Which
can't.
you can't say is not perfect right at the moment.
Right, it's uber,
It's like
uber
we planned it. Have we been saying that?
topical.
What's it like with the hoodie on? No, that's not going to work.
It's
My
not going to
big
fit
bush
over
head
your head
doesn't.
there, champ. No.
I got a big
Um, I'll
head.
admit I've been saying it for some time, specifically to put on a t-shirt, but
Hmm.
it is almost spoken somewhat into existence. So
It's funny how it's come up perfectly at the moment.
yes. Anyway, let us know what you think. It's a trial to see if it's good quality, and I'm really happy to say it's excellent quality. So let us know. On to the football. Essendon at 13-9-87, defeated by the Port Adelaide Power 12-20-92.
Really are doing it.
Oh, I really shouldn't have done that then and there, but anyway. There we go. I'm back. Wiedemann, Stringer, Perkins, Langford, 2 goals. Merritt, Menzies, Waller, Hobbs, and Caldwell, 1. Darcy Parish, 37 possessions and 5 tackles. Merritt, 28 touches and 10 tackles. Big game from both of them. I guess we'll have a little warm up, and then I'll go more into the stats for the rest of the game. So, glaring, overarching topic of conversation has to be the fact we are indeed short of tall. And I wish I'd printed it on a t-shirt. You're very still. Are you still with me?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh,
I'm
good. Okay,
I'm
Jesus,
being
move a little bit.
respectful and letting you speak.
Just move a little bit. Jeez. Ridley down with concussion. Will miss next week against the
There's talk
Lions.
that it'll be 2 weeks.
I don't know how it was. Anyway, we'll talk about the hit itself a bit later on. What's his name? Reed also pulling up sore with a hamstring in the VFL. So the natural replacement that we're all just making the assumption on Sunday seems
Hasn't
like
hurt
that's not an
himself.
option either. So frustrating game. I don't know how you felt. Started so well.
Yep. Much better
Proceeded
than
to
the week
play.
before.
Second quarter was okay. Third
Hmm.
quarter was horrific.
Second quarter, there were signs that things were going a
Yes.
bit wrong. Like we couldn't defend. There was a lot. They were spending the ball was spending a lot of time in their inside 50. You know, we weren't that midfield dominance we'd had was gone because weren't winning clearances, just normal stoppages.
Mhm.
So
I've never, well, I mean, I'm sure I have, but recency bias. I've never seen us so fumbly.
oh,
It's just so shocking.
and it wasn't wet or anything. Like it
Kicking
was
up. No, it was nice. Well, it was a cold day, I'm sure, but
go.
it was clear. So fumbly. Just
And handballs are just missed by a long way.
yeah.
Or
And
somehow they missed the ball.
the handballs were even so bad that, picked up by commentary time and time again, not just as a
Oh,
one-off.
I don't know if you heard too. That was their fifth win in a row.
We'll talk about the commentary too.
Oh God, for fuck's sake! It's like they
Um,
get on one thing at the first quarter and
oh,
they just repeat
right.
it and repeat it
You
and
know what?
repeat it.
We can talk about it now because it
Yep.
frustrates the hell out of me. My ears have only just stopped bleeding.
Mm.
Thankfully pulled up just in time for the podcast. Jared Waite, no, let me try again. Jared Healy,
Hmm.
awful. Just nothing comments.
He
Crap.
forgot one of the
Just
Essendon players for a bit. He was trying to
crap.
name. I think he went to name Langford, and I think kept going Laverde. No, that's not it.
He's
Laverde. No,
not even playing.
no.
Dermy, who is a well-known Essendon hater, and I can forgive him for that if,
We
somewhat.
did punch him around a little bit back in
Yeah,
the day.
that's fine. He can have a grudge. Was complimentary, but over the top, just over. You said it to me today. Over analyzing every tiny little detail to excruciating proportions. Just needless commentary. Rashido's voice just rubs me up the wrong way. I don't know what
Well,
it is. His content's fine.
Channel 7 have this issue, and we could go on this for a while. They have a few guys that are just their token bogan guys, like a Richo and that. Yeah, mate, yeah, we kicked a few goals. Yeah, just spoke to Richo down, just spoke to Dubbo down on the bench, you know. He just, kicked a few. He's rubbing it out. He'll be fine, you know. Well, they throw to those guys.
Going to get you arrested. Also worth noting, this was Fox Sports, not Channel 7. So it's completely slandering the wrong network there.
They feel the same.
They do. Its quality's awful. I like Hutto. He was
fine. Hutto's always good.
Oh, Christ. Right, some stats, some numbers.
Yep.
-1 disposal, which, that's an even game, I guess, if you're having the same amount of ball, but -18 inside 50s. Second week in a row, we've been absolutely schmozzled.
Yep.
+22 hit outs, which actually equated to some decent centre clearances. We doubled their centre clearances 9-18, but lost stoppage clearances by 9 as well. So broke even overall. -17 on the contested ball, -28 marks, of which 15 were contested marks. That's a massive
differential. Can't mark. We don't have guys that mark the ball.
We're not
the biggest issue.
Yeah, but 15 contested, that's huge. +7 tackles overall, but -7 inside 50 tackles. So again, a bit of a work ratey kind of issue when the ball's in their forward line, not being able to keep it there, and then suffering from the pressure that they were able to put on in their attacking 50.
A few things have slipped in the last few weeks, and they've just been by little bits and little bits and little bits. And that part of that is that inside 50 pressure that in those first 3 or 4 weeks was really up. Like it was the Davies, it was Menzies.
Yeah.
It was those guys were really running around tackle. Pressure was on. They were doing a great job then. And I don't know if it's because String is now in the team or there's just those guys aren't effective. Like Menzies had 3 possessions, I think, in the half of 40 he was on, which is very poor for a sub. He came in for half a game. 3 touches is just
2 of them came in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah. And that's very ineffectual or very didn't have much influence on the game for a guy that played basically half of the game football. And if he'd come on in with 10 minutes ago, on that stat, he wouldn't have bloody got a touch.
Might have been different coming on then.
And the other biggest issue is we don't have an out when the guys are trying to kick it from our defensive 50 out and they just want to try someone to take a mark. Like we have to kick to a contest and lose the contest and the ball comes back in. That happened a lot.
Well, I think
Phillips and Draper, I don't think gets up the ground enough, or Phillips is just not marking the ball. And Wiedemann's job is not to be up there because he's the next kick that's meant to be.
I think we had issues with that in our setup. Someone on Twitter very rightly mentioned that any talk about us being lucky because Port kicked 12 goals, 20, we would have been better off, weirdly, if they'd kicked goals.
Yeah.
Centre clearances, no worries. Clearing the ball after a kick in.
But a stoppage clearance, no.
They just got repeat.
And it's a fascinating thing. Like, I don't know what happens. Like, where we were so dominant in that first quarter, I think we had, as the commentators told us every time it happened.
8 zip centre clearances in the first quarter.
Yet, we could not win the ball around the ground on any clearance, like a stoppage clearance. So, don't know. I mean, maybe someone more skilled would understand that what breaks down more for us.
Well, I mean, we're here to guess, I guess. Congestion, like that's one major obvious difference between your centre clearance and the stoppage. Just congestion, bodies around the ball, and the setup around that. And so many times we seem to overcommit to one side.
Yep.
And the ball comes out the other, and they've got 3 or 4 blokes there, not just Port. It's been an ongoing thing back to Anzac Day, at least that I can remember, where they've got 3 or 4 guys running and that can all just handle, kick. They're free. They're gone.
Yep.
So I think it's a structural thing where we get all sucked to one side, whereas at the centre clearance, you're kind of stationed at a equal distance around the centre circle.
I had a theory that I wondered if it was like, I don't think, and I don't want us to go chasing this person, but I don't think we have the stronger, like I still feel like our midfielders and to be honest, our forwards and backs aren't strong enough. Like we have a lot of skinnier players, like the Zerk Thatchers who, struggle on the big forwards and even Ridley and Redmond's not a big guy. Like Perkins is not big. Like Stringer's a muscly dude or can use his bulk to go through. But who else would there be? Him. There'd be Tip and Woody. He's be hard to tackle or can hold a tackle.
Through the hips.
After that, it would drop away really quickly in guys that are strong that you think of as strong units.
Yeah, you're right. Symbolic somewhat of being a young side.
Well, there's that.
But then you look at
Sydney are young and they seem to tackle.
Well, the Swans, I was more leaning towards, I don't know if you had a chance to watch Gold Coast and Melbourne.
True.
Matty Rowell.
He eats grass.
He eats grass. Maybe that's where we're going wrong. He's a machine of a human being. He just throws himself about, holds it like he's an unreal footballer. And we saw it against us that he was like that. But to see him against a Melbourne midfield, but he's young, is my point there. Like, it's not...
Yeah. No, you're right.
As easy as just saying, we're a young side. Yes, he's probably a different shape and, whatever. But...
Do you think the other issue just is the fact that we don't have we don't have a great list. We have a very good best 22, like not a very good, but a good best 22. Like,
it's the bottom
if
6.
We're picking all our players, but now Ridley's out, Laverde's out. We're short. We could do with like a Cox or a Reed or a Stewart even, like, as those extra big body, tall defenders. And then without Wright, that affects his structure. I don't think Phillips is cutting the mustard, to be honest. I'd love to see Brian come in and take his place.
I want to talk about Phillips a bit later on. I think the issue is we've got the talls that we've got are younger, apart from the guys that start. So the Ridleys and the Zerk Thatchers and Laverde. The rest are quite young. And naturally, it happens a lot. When you're 200 centimetres and 18, 19, 20, you have a lot of back injuries. It's not just us. It's quite a common thing. So I think there's a bit of pain in that sense to go through. And I know there's talk of us picking up McDonald.
Tip and Woody, we've already got him.
No, good one.
Oh, he used to play for Melbourne.
Yeah, just as an option. And he's copping some... there's a bit of talk on Twitter.
Was that Brown? Remember Brown we had? Was it Brown that went to Melbourne?
Yeah, Mitch Brown,
Mitch Brown. He'd be handy.
Maybe.
Although, you and I both said to each other, we watched the Sydney game and saw
Aaron Francis yet again playing forward.
He thought he'd be useful down back this week.
Missing a set shot from 25 out. Classic ringer.
I saw that. Oh, Franger. Why do you wear the 10?
Yeah. I'm an advocate of just going, you know what, let's get a 195 to 200 centimetre footballer, preferably 25 plus. I don't care if they're any good at football. If you can put your arm up and punch a ball
and run a bit,
you are in. Like,
well, it's going to be an interesting situation this week if I can jump into that one quickly. Like, so we've got obviously Zerk Thatcher, who's 196 or something, 5, up against, so it'd be Hipwood and Danaher, both 200 centimetres. I'll give them roughly around there. So it's Zerk Thatcher and then nothing. Like the next, and while we're on this, can you answer a question to me?
I can try.
For me. Langford, forward or back?
Look, I was an advocate of the whole multilingual, multi-position thing, but forward.
He just, to me, he gets lost
I don't care
back.
if we can see 10 goals in a row forward.
No, and plus, I think it hurts us when he goes back because we don't have anyone. Well, we still have forwards, but he really affects the game forward because he drags a defender into the game. He usually beats them and brings the ball, or if he doesn't mark it and kick the goal, brings the ball to the ground, he can be effective. Defender-wise, he's just lost. He's not really doing anything useful. He's there and about, but he's not really reading. If he's by himself, he'll take the mark. But if he's actually expected to beat a forward one-on-one, no.
I think to illustrate that, he had 4 touches to quarter time, 1 goal and 3 goal assists.
Yeah.
And the kick to Wiedemann in the pocket was beautiful. Yep. I don't remember the other goal assists, but
if he goes down back, he doesn't do anything useful for us.
Yeah. I'm like I said, I was on the whole versatility bandwagon, but no, now forward.
So my question
100%.
is, do we, for this twin towers that we're coming up against, do we pick a Hayes who's only a kid, but he is 199, isn't he, or something like that? 198, 199.
199 and 84 kilos. Oh,
Yep.
I think we
Well,
have
you
to.
just have to. You can't pick. I think there's talk Montgomery had a very good game, but he's 190.
He's only
You can't put a
190.
190 kid on a 200. Like, he's just going to be punching his arms all day and giving away free kicks.
Which, if that has to be,
That's not how.
it's going to be free kicks or outmarked. Like, there's not going to be.
Yeah, but
an
the
awful
200
lot of...
kids, 200 centimeters. Like Hipwood would be the one I'd be targeting as the younger, because Hipwood plays more of that up the ground sort of roaming. He doesn't get deep. Like Danaher doesn't mind getting deep. He plays that ruck and then he'll go deep.
They can both push up though.
I reckon. See, to me, it's Brian. Brian comes in. Phillips goes out. Brian, I'm not saying goes as a defender, although I don't know what he's like. But at least I think he's got more mobility and he takes more marks. He's a better ruckman than Phillips.
Yeah. Can we just get back on?
No,
track
I'm all over the place. I'm very frustrated.
You are frustrated, but we'll talk about next week at the end. So
sorry.
Let's just jump back. That's okay. It's all relevant, but let's not go too hard on next week just yet. I've written down a few things that I wanted to mention. I think we could talk about.
Yep.
Kick to handball ratio. Here's a thing I haven't looked at for a very long time. 1.6 for them, as good as 1.2 for us. So they had a lot more kicks and a lot less handballs, basically. Yep. Just over possessing the footy. And so often handball goes to dirt rather than hands, and then it's a fumble, and then they win the ball back. And it's always so much more obvious when your opposition's clean.
Yeah.
When you're not. And
well, that
so
was what,
often they just run past, scoop it up, handball, see you later. We lost this game by 5 points.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
Well, and that's what was working for us in the first few quarters was that first few games was that handball run, handball carry. Whereas in this game, we just couldn't hit the target.
Yeah.
And so do you just say, well, that's just that game and you keep going?
Yes, it's not a theme yet. So I can cop that. Fiercely handballing it as hard as you can to a teammate 2 meters away is the thing.
You know who was that? I saw that one. It bounced off his chest.
It was some under Stringer.
Yeah.
In their defense, I don't think it was meant for Stringer. But
I reckon I saw another one then. I reckon one was to Kelly. It bounced off his chest.
Yeah, we do just seem to panic and fire out the quickest buggering handball. Just take a little bit off it and just hit your teammate. He's your teammate. I remember playing cricket as a kid, being told the wicketkeeper's your teammate. Don't try and kill him with a throw. The same shit.
Yep.
Now, you gave me a lovely stat before the pod about our centre bounce tendencies. I know you being a fantasy freako, you love your CBAs.
I was fascinated by this one.
Will Setterfield, tell me, how many % did he attend the centre bounce?
Well, zero.
The hell?
Yeah, I'll just reel off his percentage-wise in the last few games. So it's 68, 76, 62, 68, 90. Like, what?
What's
so
happened?
Then he went to zero. Like, he didn't attend a CBA. That's really interesting. I thought.
What are you?
And you told me that, I should have. It works both ways because we won those first 7 or 8, like we talked about. So was it better? I don't know.
What I should have looked at when you told me that particular stat is his heat map. Where the friggin' heck did he play?
Oh, I reckon he played. I watched it and I thought he was playing more of a half forward or half back or something like that.
So he had 16 touches, the sets.
Yep.
Yeah, sort of wing half back was the most.
Maybe he was there. When did Ridley go down? Maybe. No, that was too late for that. That was in the second quarter.
Well, so first quarter he had 6 touches, 60% defensive half.
Oh, did he go to the wing because Durham wasn't playing?
Maybe that's a good shout. Only 1 disposal in the second quarter. That was in the defensive half. Third quarter, every single disposal was in the defensive half.
Yep. And that's when Ridley had gone down, so maybe they sent him back.
You're probably not a million miles off with the wing shout.
Well, I would, because he's played wing, obviously, at Carlton, even though the embarrassing thing about that is that every Carlton supporter I spoke to when he came, I said, he's no good on the wing. He's good in the midfield, but he's no good on a wing. So what do we do once we get a player out? We put him on the wing.
Yeah, you'd almost cop putting Heppel on the wing and just going,
I'd cop putting Shield on the wing. I'd put anyone else. Like, I don't know why Shield can't play on a wing. Like, I don't understand that. Like,
great setup And what do I call it? Segway.
You
That's
love
not
a
what I
segue.
call it. That's what everyone calls it. That bump.
That's true. It's what everyone calls it.
That is what everyone calls it. The bump, the shield bump.
Yep.
Can we just froth over that for a minute?
Well, he had to do it because it wasn't early before. A couple of times he hadn't even gone for a mark.
Like
a few
couple
times,
to be honest. But
he's not putting his.
let's no, let's not do that. Let's just
Go. You do yours, and I'll just be quiet.
Celebrate
I'm mute.
The bump that split. I don't know who the Port Adelaide player was. Rosie.
Yep.
Burned one of them straight up the middle. Fair bump. Won the footy. Had eyes on the ball the whole way, and I felt the earthquake here. The room just shook just a little bit. I thought it was great.
So interestingly, he had 41% CBAs from 20 the week before. So, and he's 2 lowest for the year. So he's been pulled out of the midfield and playing more in a half forward role. Whereas Jake Stringer went 80% last week, 55 this week.
And Hobbs has come in.
Hobbs has come in and done 34 this week. And Phillips has picked up 14% of them.
Yeah, okay.
Perkins, sorry. Did I say Phillips? Perkins.
You said Phillips, but that suits
Perkins,
me just fine because I want to talk about Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is now an issue for 3 games of football.
Yep.
That the man cannot take a mark. He started to clunk him, but there was about 90 seconds left.
It was in the last quarter when he took 2, I reckon.
Yeah. You touched on it earlier, that dump kick out of defensive 50. You don't have to mark it every time, but we just got outmarked.
Yeah, you can't be outmarked. You have to bring the ball to the ground.
Yeah. And he wasn't doing that. And when he did get clean hands 3 or 4 times, not just once, he spilt it.
Yep.
And I'm really, 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 really critical of him for the kick with 30, 40 seconds left.
Yep.
Where he took the mark, turned around, swaggered back, took all the time in the world, and then the kick dropped 10 meters short. You've got to know.
Which I thought was hilarious because I thought, he's got this. Like he's going back. He's normally a very straight kick, you know. Oh, look at this. And they're sort of, it's going through. And then they cut to the shot where it drops. I went, fucking hell, that's not even close.
You've got to know your limits. And before he'd even kicked it, I was like, fucking hurry up. You are taking 8 years. Get back and take the fucking kick. So if you miss it, we can have another chance to win the game of football. It drove me up the wall. I fucked my KO up because I whacked my couch and I knocked the remote and bad things happened. Yeah, I had to turn it off in the third quarter. Then
there was that
infuriating game of football.
That last little free kick to bloody Charlie. Can somebody explain why? I understand the joke, but King Charles, they were calling him? Because he's been such a great football player over his career.
Well, we spoke about this today. Again, you've got a guy last week, Tom Hawkins. He kicked 8 on us, had every reason to be wandering around with a bit of a swagger. No. Just kicked his 8 goals because it's his job.
And he has kicked probably, I'm guessing, 800 or 900 goals in his career. Like
he's a very good footballer, and he has every right to be
And him and Dixon, I think, are the same age. Like,
yeah, every right to be a little bit cocky.
Yep.
Nah, not a shred of it from Tomahawk. Charlie Dixon takes 1 mark. He hasn't touched the football in 3 quarters. And it's like, get off me, you absolute filth.
Yeah. And kicked 2 goals. Like, didn't have a day out against us or anything.
That's what annoys me about St Kilda. Arrogance without foundation.
Yeah.
And it's always the guys that have foundation to be arrogant that aren't fucking arrogant.
Yeah. I agree.
Drives me up the wall. Anything else for Phillips? Are we pretty content that we think
I don't see the point anymore of Brian has played 3 good games statistically. I haven't watched them, but stats wise in the VFL, like he's 20. I'm going to say 2. I'm not sure. We're playing kids. That's what that's why we're playing the I was going to say Menzies, but I was going to come to him next too. Like we're playing kids. That's what we're all about because that's what our list is. So why not, if we play 2 ruckmen, which I think is working, I actually do like the strategy of that, give him a few games. Like we've got Brisbane this week who they might play their 2 ruckmen. They can come up. They can have 2 big boys in.
Yeah, and it's not just Hipwood and Danaher, it's then McInerney.
Well, no, it's definitely their ruckman. Is that they can play two big ruckmen. Like
That's right.
they can go very tall if they want to. They could go really tall and hurt us.
I
So
have a mate that goes to Brisbane, and we are heading up this weekend. So, yeah, loving that choice.
The other one just on that was Menzies. So I big fan of him in the first few weeks. Thought he played really good footy.
Mm-hmm.
His last 2 or 3 weeks, he was dropped for one or rest. I'm not sure.
I think he was managed technically.
Yeah, but to come into this game when Ridley went out, which look, since that game, the Melbourne game where I thought we got the sub really right with Hind, I felt like we've got the sub wrong every time.
Yep.
He came on for basically half a game, 43% game time or something like that he played, and had 3 disposals. Like, well, that's not effective. That's not anything useful. That's not.
It's now.
I'm not saying there's probably a kid in the VFL screaming out for a game, but that's not working at the moment.
It's a couple of times now where my comment on him is that he shits himself a bit. He gets the ball and panics. And there's a few guys like that. It's not just him, but it really hurt us on Anzac Day when it was shots at goal. I don't think I'm too critical of him this game for the whole sub thing because it wasn't a sub we would have wanted to make. Like he's been thrown into the game not at a time he would have thought in excess to a position that he plays. Like it would have been
a sub's got to have some like it's got to have either flexibility. Like if you picked a Ambrosio, then he can play back and forward.
I agree with you 100%.
Whereas Menzie can only play a small forward role. So if you, for example, lose a Ridley, it's a real rejig. Whereas if Ambrosio was the
you at least get a
sub,
defender,
then he could have probably gone back and look. He would have played. We would have had a small back there, but he could have rejigged, shuffled him around. Redmond might have played on someone a bit taller than him. So I don't know. I just don't like it.
On that,
I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. But it's not his fault. He's sub either.
No, it's not his fault at all. This is a go at the coaches. This is like,
should we take that off?
When you're sitting there and planning the game, okay, what's the worst case scenario? We lose a ruckman. Well, we've still got one ruckman in the game, so that's fine. We can work around that. If you lose a small forward, that's not a worry. We'll just send Shield or Merritt. We'll send 1,000 people to cover that. But if you lose a tall defender, then what are we doing there? And it's not Langford. Langford's not the option.
It's not Langers.
So that doesn't work.
Davey Jr. Happy to sort of bypass that as a bit of
I'd like to see him play up the other end of the ground for a little bit, to be honest. He's one of those guys that I think I'd like to see him do a little bit more than be stuck in the forward pocket. Because when he went up the other end of the ground, there was a couple of little moments in that first quarter, I reckon, where he just got around, got a kick. He kicked a beautiful, and I don't know if it came off the side of the boot or not, but it hit a target perfectly. Did you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah. They always come off the side of the boot.
Yeah, but I don't know. He's got vision. He's got speed. There's something about him I can see I can persist with at the moment. I don't think his stats were any better than Menzie. Well, they were a little bit. So
he actually had 9 touches, only 37% in the offensive half.
Offensive?
Yeah.
So, yes. And that's why I felt like he was down there doing a few things. I thought, he looks quite comfortable down there. Maybe that's a thing.
Interesting.
I don't know. I know. See, what I'm a bit frustrated is that the coach, Brad Scott, has said, I want to just play the guys in their positions for as long, get them really comfortable in their positions. I'm like, yeah, but the problem with that is that we as Essendon supporters have seen them all in those positions for a long, long time. And I feel like, I don't know if I'm going to see anything new. Like, I've learned already enough about Langford. Langford cannot play back.
No, and he's a very good forward.
He's a very good. He could kick 30 goals in a season as a forward.
I'd go more, given
but he could be a damaging half forward.
100%.
And I don't know how he fits into the team. Like if everyone's fit, like is it him, Wright, Wiedemann, Stringer? Like are they the 4, and then you have 2 smalls at their feet?
Oh, thankfully,
Langford and Stringer can go a little bit onto the ground. They can pick up a ball and be damaging. Whereas I'm not expecting Wiedemann and or Wright to be doing that.
Thankfully, not an issue we have to really worry about.
No, you're right.
for the time being.
But I'd like to think towards that, that goal. One day we will roll out with our best team for a few weeks in a row, not just.
God help the competition when we do.
Anyway, I don't know. I get frustrated. That third quarter still, I just felt like we tried to defend and like it's the Collingwood game that annoyed me. You know how when we were up in that last quarter of Collingwood, and I felt like the coach said, "Okay, everyone, just try and defend in the last quarter. Everyone, we'll see if we can hold the 20-point lead." Nah, couldn't. Damn it! Who would have thought?
Not me. So, we need to talk about the moment that
we fell in love.
Ridley fell over. It's a weird one, and it's almost like one of those ones you could chuck at a high school debating team because you could take either side pretty comfortably. Against Rioli, behind the ball, he's tried to block a run, which happens 1,000 times a game of football. That's not a football act. That's not a football act. It is a football act. There you go. Keep it simple.
Got there in the end.
Yeah. The issue is he's obviously left an arm out.
Yep.
And that's hit Ridley in the head, not particularly hard from what it looked, but enough to concuss the man.
So did you hear Dermy give that explanation?
Remind me.
Oh well, I think it was halftime.
With your best Dermy impression?
Well, I don't want to do a Dermy impression. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So Dermy talks about how he talks to a lot of boxers because he probably works in that world or knows guys.
Get a bit of a thug,
and they talk about how that a punch to your front on, like face that way, is not too bad anywhere like that. But when it comes across you like that, that's when you really get bad concussions. Like there's something like the hook is worse than the jab, like, basically. So that's when you can break jaws and get really bad concussions.
Well, and that's what it seems to be.
That's what it seems. Exactly. It seems to, and Dermy was sort of saying, I've spoken to boxers and they were talking about when it comes across you, you can get more damage than the ones that come straight at you. So I don't know. I'm just repeating what Dermy said.
Yeah, well, I mean...
he's probably in the know more than me.
Probably.
He hangs around Barry Hall. He boxes. Well, did you see, just to go on topic, Bell Chambers v... Tom Bell Chambers is getting in the ring with someone.
Not Paul Gallen, I hope.
No, it's an ex-football player.
I hope he puts more effort into his boxing.
Search it while you discuss.
Yeah, you do that. There's a lot of conflicting opinions among Essendon supporters, let alone the broader AFL community. And even Mooney, is it? Cam Mooney?
Yeah, Cam Mooney, yep.
Is that who you think it's going to be against? The fight, Bell Chambers?
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
haven't typed it yet.
No, someone in the chat. Phil's given us the info.
Thanks, Phil. I'm still typing.
Yeah, well, that's you using.
I'm an old man typer.
In general, lots of conflicting views, and even to the point where there's a comment here again from Phil because he contributes.
Phil keeps us. Thanks,
an elbow. Oh my God! Comments. An elbow to the jaw isn't accidental. He jumped and swung. He knew what he was doing. That's one take. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think
I'd have to see vision that shows that
he'll get weeks. I don't think he get off suspension, but I don't think there was anything malicious about it. It was just wildly unfortunate and reckless.
I don't think he was trying to belt him in the head. I think he was just trying to knock him out of the way, and it didn't work.
Did break my heart that he kicked a goal towards the end of the game, set up one. No, he kicked one. That's what I'm thinking of. Pow Pepper, shaked and baked and got him out to him. So that was a bit of cruel.
They've got some real pricks in their team, Port Adelaide, haven't they? Darcy Byrne-Jones is a real...
Yeah, they're rough nuts.
Yeah, they're real fucking...
Nothing wrong with that. I wish...
we don't have those.
I'd like a few of them.
This is the thing, I can tell you, the thing I found fascinating about Essendon for years, name the last sleeved Essendon player.
James Hurd.
Sleeved.
Oh, as in sorry, I think I meant long
tattooed.
Sleeves. Tattoos, right. You see, my brain went. Carl Reimers.
Yeah. But I'm not saying tattoos are tough. That's not what I'm implying. But they're usually a little bit of pricks, a little bit prickish. Of CUNT about them. Like they got some narkiness in the full sleeve tattoo kind of guys.
Appreciate
you think of the guys that have sleeves.
Yes, well, yeah. I appreciate you
Spelling the word.
bleeping out your own expletives there.
But we don't I don't even. There's Stringer's got his tattoo. You can see a little bit of. I don't know anyone else. I think
So every
Keppel's got a
single
little
Essendon
tattoo.
player,
That's it.
go
Okay?
out and get a freaking sleeve tomorrow.
We need sleeved players. That's what you need to tell Jackets. Tell Jackets.
Get a
Jackets,
sleeve.
if you're listening, can you find a sleeved VFL player who's 200 centimeters and can punch?
Yeah, with the ball.
Ball.
The ball.
Not the face, the ball.
Yep. I think that just about wraps the review part up. To be honest, I think a horrific game to watch. We shouldn't really have been in it, barring the good first quarter.
And moments in the last
sloppy
quarter. The
moments.
first 10 minutes of the last quarter.
Yeah, it's still not enough.
No, it's not, but it's what we got.
On that note, can I please have your votes? No.
Yes, you may.
And do not change them for what I wrote. Because what I wrote down before the podcast is what goes in the spreadsheet.
I just looked at my last week's one and I had 3 Stringer. No, hang on, that's not right.
That's not
3 Parish.
Yes.
2 Draper. I thought he was influential in stages of the game, but I would love to see for longer. And 1 the Langers.
Very good. And I hung shit on you pre-match for not including Zach Merritt, who had 28 touches and 10 tackles and a goal. Parish 3, 37 touches, 5 tackles, clearances beyond belief. Yep, I'm in agreement there. I gave 2 to Merritt for the reasons I just mentioned, and I gave 1 to Langford.
So I like to pick a ruckman.
Yeah, you do. You are biased completely towards your ruckman.
Yep.
And I'm biased completely towards tall forwards.
Except we don't have any that are good
and
at
Rusty Martin.
Because he had another good game too, Rusty.
Yeah, he was solid, yeah. We touched on earlier. Next week is Brisbane Lions Saturday night prime time at the Gabba.
Oh, is it really? Oh.
In Brisbane. I don't think we need to go into the whole Ridley coverage again. We've talked about that. Other than that, not a lot screaming from the VFL. They had a loss to Werribee, I believe it was. Kept them scoreless in the first quarter, and then they basically kept us scoreless for the rest of the game, it seems.
I did look at that, and I thought we looked like we started well, but then we didn't finish.
And it just didn't go on.
I guess maybe Reed went off, and that affected us.
Probably. Baldwin
Snelling had 10 tackles. Do you reckon that deserves to come back in instead of Menzies?
I'm surprised Snelling ever got dropped, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
On form. D'Ambrosio, 24 touches. Rhett Montgomery, 24 touches. Snelling, 19 touches and the 9 tackles, as you mentioned. Baldwin, 2 goals. So that indicates, obviously, he's playing forward. So,
yep. I thought he played a pretty good game from centre back.
Well, yeah, defenders do kick goals, but Wanga need a couple of goals from 14 touches if you were looking at that direct swap for Menzie. Hayes, 13 touches and 3 marks. Not anything extraordinary.
No, but he's 199 centimetres.
Yes. And
probably go like that, Sam. Look.
He can probably punch, yeah.
Probably go like that, 197. Just play him.
Probably the most likely change. Well, the one I want to see the most, probably not the most likely, the one I want to see. Brian, 12 touches and 46 hitouts.
Phenomenal.
The man is dominating.
Yeah, like he's had 30 or 40 in the last few games.
Yeah. That's actually something I should have mentioned on Draper earlier. He seems to have finally worked out hitouts to advantage.
Yep.
That first quarter.
Very important, isn't it?
Boop, down the throat. Boop, down the throat. Boop, down the throat. It was phenomenal.
I'm telling you, by the time he's a 28-year-old ruckman with close to 200 games to his name, he will be an amazing athlete.
I hope so.
If he progresses along a normal, like ruckman really 28, 29, 30, 31 become absolute, Michelle, you look at Gawn at the moment, Grundy when he was really good, Goldstein's still 33 or 4 and he's still fairly handy ruckman himself. Marshall's, becoming his own, he's be mid-20s, maybe even later, 26, 27, so.
It's exciting, and I would love to see him and Brian just rucking forever and being the new Gawn, Grundy, Gawn, and what's the guy that left? Jackson.
Oh yeah, Lucas Jackson, yeah,
Luke, just Luke.
Luke
Yep.
Jackson. Yeah.
Duke Jackson.
Well, I think that with what I've seen of Brian is that he does look very mobile. Like he's, the VFL
And-
stuff I've seen. He's only played 3, 4 AFL games,
Oh, if that.
and I don't think any of them were great.
Well, the one game of AFL that I've watched him play,
Mm.
I can remember, was against Carlton. And me and you both commented just that he can kick.
He ran and kicked. He kicked on the run.
His field kicking was pretty good.
Yep.
Which is not something you can always say for a ruckman.
Well, he would complement Draper really well then.
Certainly not Sammy Draper. Who, I mean, to be fair, his kicking has improved and his field kicking generally is a lot more accurate than his goal kicking. But Jesus Christ, the drop is just unnatural.
He's all arms and legs sometimes when he's going at that ball. He's just everything.
Yeah.
But I love the way he goes about it. I love his style.
Oh, he's heart and soul.
Yeah, and as I said, 150 more games. He just played his 50, I think. Was that his 50?
Last week.
Yeah, last week. You put 150 games into that, he will be a special ruckman. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, he already is special, but in the fun kind of way.
Yeah.
Hair flowing.
Yeah.
Celebration.
No.
Hmm. Can I?
So how are we going to deal with Brisbane?
Okay, well, I don't want. Yeah, okay.
Because it's going to probably rain.
We're not going to deal with Brisbane. Actually, let's do a weather forecast because I'm going up there. So I have.
I did see on Twitter. Why are you doing that? Well, I did see on Twitter that when I think it was just maybe around the time before we knew Reid was injured, someone posted. So poor old Reid's going to get picked to play up at Brisbane next week, isn't he? Now that Ridley's out, and it's going to probably pour down rain again for the bloke. And remember what happened last time we went up there and he had to deal with all that? He got flogged a little bit.
Awful game of football, yeah.
Yeah, it was a
max of 23, 80% chance of rain, but only up to 3 mil.
No, you're fine. That's good. That'd be a nice day.
High chance of showers, so not too much rain, but still 23, which is a lot warmer than it was here this morning.
Yeah, we had a good frost at my house.
Yeah, same. It's cold. Look, I think Hipwood can kick 10, as far as I'm concerned, if Joe Danaher goes goalless.
Joe Danaher's not going to go goalless.
I can cop that. Fair on the chins.
How about we have like a... Oh, no, that wouldn't work. Have some sort of a shot for every goal we let Joe Danaher... we let Joe Danaher kick. Hey?
We'll be done before quarter time.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we'll put so much focus and attention into Hipwood and Danaher, and it'll be Charlie Cameron and
Zach Bailey.
Zach Bailey, I think I've got his first name. Zach Bailey that kicked 15 between them.
Yeah, I agree. Or Gunston will pop up and kick 3 or 4 easily.
Gunston, yeah. Wily old smart footballer.
Yep.
Look, I think it's
we're going to get
impossible
hurt.
task.
I really
don't think any AFL team this year will have as tough a run as what we've had over the last 4 weeks, topped off by the fact we're interstate 2 weeks in a row against Port Adelaide and Brisbane. That is just rough as guts.
Ridiculous. Like, it's a shocking
after Collingwood
draw.
And Geelong, prelim finalists, and
with Melbourne
reigning premiers, with Melbourne before that.
Yeah. And we came 4th last. Like, we're meant to get a bit of an easier draw.
Well, it does get a bit less difficult after. I won't say easier, but a bit less difficult after.
Still, but that is a tough 6 weeks.
Get through unscathed. If we can, what we've been doing so well this year is just sticking around. Might not be pretty, but sticking around in games. So see a bit more of that.
I don't feel it's going to happen this week. I feel a flogging coming.
I felt a flogging coming on Sunday, and we should have had it, but we didn't.
No, I didn't feel as much of a flogging coming Sunday. I feel like Brisbane are up and about. They're at home. They're a dominant side.
They are flat track bullies,
and they're scoring machines. Port Adelaide are not 150-point scoring team. They're not that guy. They're not that team. Charlie Cameron,
not that guy.
He's not that guy. Whereas, sorry, not Charlie Cameron. He's not Charlie Dixon. Sorry, Charlie Dixon's not that guy. Charlie Cameron and Gunston and Danaher and Hipwood and Bailey and their midfielders are probably what's his name?
Lockie Neal.
Who
loves 40 and a goal against Essendon.
Dunkley. They're the guys again. Dunkley will probably kick Berry and McCluggage. They'll probably kick 2 each. I'm
really loving the fact that I'm going up there.
I
Right,
love that you've picked a
right.
game to go into statements.
Well,
that
it's
one.
just I've got a mate that
No,
goes to
good on
Brizzy
you.
and
I mean that in all seriousness. Good on you.
he's a soccer man and got
Bigger
into
man
footy,
than me.
and he loves his Lions. He went down to the Carlton game last week. He's getting about him. So whatever.
They're looking
I've been
good.
to plenty of games of football that we've lost, so it's no skin off my nose. I love going, and it's Queensland.
It's a nice stadium too. Have you been there before?
When I was 12, so
Okay, yeah,
barely.
forgotten.
Yeah, we lost.
Snowman.
So you know. A tip, please.
Oh, seriously.
Don't you dare tip us.
I will drink a cup of Bundaberg rum live on this podcast next week if we get within 30 points.
Hang on, let me go back to that. We don't advocate drinking to excess, but what are you gonna drink? Like a whole bottle?
No, not a bottle, like
rum,
a glass, like a straight rum.
Oh, okay. If we get within what?
30.
All right, mental note for next week.
We will just not get close to them.
Will not make such deals because recipe for disaster. Can I have a tip? Just give me a number that you think Brisbane will win by.
Brisbane by 55.
55 Yokus. I'll say Brisbane by 28. I think we'll get flogged too, but we've got to be positive.
Yeah, of course we have to be positive. I just they're a good side. We're going to be short another player, short another tall. Who comes? Sammy comes back.
Does yeah.
I mean, does that push Setterfield back to the midfield? I don't know.
I reckon Hobbs out for Durham, and then that probably equalises the.
Oh, people won't like you saying Hobbs out. Hobbs is everyone's favourite.
I have nothing against him. I just think he's the kid. He's the one that can come in and out a little bit, and he hasn't been great. He's not exactly
didn't set the world light in the game. I didn't.
You need to keep me in this team, Brad Scott. No, he's just doing his little bit, and he can do that in the VFL.
Yep.
I want to ask you a couple other questions that aren't related to the Essendon Football Club.
Any chat-related questions?
But I've kind of covered off what's been said during as we've been going. Phil's matched you by saying he'll drink an entire bottle of Johnny Walker Blue Label if we win. Phil, if that happens, you're coming on. Nath will drink his glass and you can down that live.
You better have Zoom downloaded, Phil.
Yeah, you get that ready to go. I think it's a pretty safe bet. But
I think it's good to go in with that attitude because then it doesn't hurt as much, personally.
Oh, expectation is the worst thing in football.
Yep.
And that's what happens when you're 28 points up against Collingwood.
That's why I'm not looking forward to playing North Melbourne and West Coast after this run.
Especially after Kane Corns has just told us that we've got 16 points in the bank, boys. Don't worry about it. We have to go to Perth and play West Coast.
We'll probably give North Melbourne this first win in about 10 games.
Phil's not sculling it. He likes life. I didn't say you have to scull it.
That's true.
The pod's about an hour. So
I wouldn't be able to scull mine. I'm not a good scull. I can't even scull water. Like I'm not a.
No, you are a little bit.
What?
Shit like that. All right, I want to ask you some questions about non-football related issues.
Yep.
Sorry, not non-football, non-Essendon. Do you find it ironic? This is a little bit rhetorical, but
isn't it ironic?
Don't you think? In the week after the AFL say, "Oi, clubs, you can't talk shit about umpires," I'm paraphrasing, that we possibly see the worst round of umpiring.
Oh.
And I didn't mention it earlier because I don't want to blame our game on that.
It's not our game.
Oh, you just disappeared. I've just gone full screen. Sorry to the people at home. The Melbourne and Gold Coast game was disgusting.
Yeah.
Gold Coast got umpired out of that so hard.
Yep.
Our game I thought was pretty poor. The holding the ball was just so inconsistent.
Pushing in the backing in marking competitions has just changed. Yes. Something's happened there.
Just guys clearly fending off.
And
then it's not being paid. And the point at which I had to turn our game off was after Dixon put them in front. It goes back to the middle. Zach Merritt gets done holding the ball when he had next to no prior.
Yep.
And they went and kicked another goal. And
There was a few of those no prior ones in other games too, where
Mm.
you go, well, he just got the ball. Like he didn't have any opportunity. Yet you see guys trying to break push away and get the handball out, and you go,
And
well,
they
hang
get-
on,
they
that,
get
isn't that?
off.
Just blow the bloody whistle, umpire, earlier and say, no, holding the ball. You had prior, you got tackled.
And the bounce in the middle needs to go.
Yeah,
I'm
they can't
okay
get it
with
right.
having one ceremonial, and this wasn't mine. This was Jared Waitley said this.
Yep.
Ceremonial bounce at the start of the quarter.
Yep. Everything else,
Fine.
throw it.
Everything else, throw it up. And this hurts my soul. To Razor's credit, he figured it out. Come the last quarter, he was throwing the ball up because he could not get the bounce right.
No, but he doesn't need to.
No, but he learnt at least. He clued on.
But they
and
throw
went,
it up, except for the centre bounce. They throw it up at all the stoppages.
Yeah, I mean,
so why do we have
it
such
was
a
just nice to
thing
see an
on that?
umpire using a bit of
but AFL step in and say,
brain
look, we're
power.
just going to throw it up.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. That was my point. Of course, I'd agree.
Yep.
I thought it was shocking, and it's the quality of umpiring in general.
My theory on the umpiring, it has got
Yes.
worse with 4 umpires this year, and I wonder if we have diluted the pool of umpires.
Yep, 9 extra umpires every week,
which would have to mean there'd be 9 or 10 or 9 extra reserves, like because you'd have to take a reserve umpire into every game.
Mm-hmm.
So you would be pulling a thinner pool, like guys that maybe umpired VFL are doing more AFL, because as we're seeing, like you're seeing so much inconsistency, even to the point of there's a few a week where you'll get one umpire will call it touched, play on, and the other umpire will pay the mark, and they'll be like, well, what the fuck do we have to do
confusion.
here?
I thought the point of 4 umpires, if you have a contest and you whacked a compass over that contest,
There's meant to be one on
4
every
umpires, you'd have one north, south, east, west.
Yeah.
But still, we have 2 umpires, or the 2 main umpires. You've got one at like northwest, one at northeast. There's no one on that other side of the contest. So
and one hangs way back to watch the 2 forwards pushing each other and give a shit free kick about it.
The blind side of the freaking contest.
But they're still giving
the whole point of the.
They're giving a shit free kick down the other end of the ground. It's got nothing to like. A couple of guys push, one guy falls over because he's trying to play for a free kick and gets a free kick.
Yep.
And then when Ridley gets smacked in the head and rolls around the gum, suddenly no umpire sees it. We don't even get a free kick. He didn't even get a free kick for it. Like because when he went down, I didn't. I saw him just on the ground.
I saw him flop. Well,
what's happened here?
Yeah.
Why is he on the ground? And no free kicker. Then it can't be anything bad, But then the fact that he stayed there, it must be a bit bad because he hasn't got the free kick, might as well get up now.
And then neck minute subbed.
Neck minute sub. Yeah.
Neck minute. I want to also ask you how much it concerns you that Collingwood seem to really be sorting out their off-field issues. They had Buddy Franklin was booed all day yesterday, and it's a bit of the Horn Francis from the week before.
Or is it
that why you're booing?
Why are they booing Buddy though?
You're booing him because he's good. Essentially, he's been one of our greatest ever players, and that's why you've decided to boo him. A club that criticised other fans for booing Ginnivan last year, and who told.
I remember when who was it? You go.
Who Buckley told Essendon fans to shut up when we weren't even booing his player. We were booing the umpires.
Yep. That's right. You're booing a champion. That's
anyone who boos
like
a champion. And then and Bucks has come out and criticised the Collingwood fans, and fair enough. And Darcy Moore and the coach and the CEO have all come out and said not on. But 2 factors. Why boo the guy? He's he's the best forward we've had.
He's a generational player.
Forever.
Like he's
Since
one
the
in a
old
generation.
days.
Yep.
It's just no point. And 2, Collingwood have handled it so well. It makes me sick.
I don't know if they've had. I don't know if the fact they've made a press release means you've handled it well.
Well, they've nipped it in the bud. They said we don't stand for this. Fuck off.
But the fact that their supporters still do it, like that's
what
what they need to get the message back to. They're not like the press release to us is like, that's not our problem. The press release should be directed at the members. There should be a member email going out tonight saying, "Hey, if you're coming to our game, please don't boo everyone." Like.
Unless you've got a reason. There are reasons to boo players. We could have, if it was in Melbourne.
My concern would be they're booing Buddy Franklin because the same reason they boo Goods.
I don't. Let's not go into that.
Let's not go there. But why Buddy Franklin? Why didn't they boo anyone? Did Buddy Franklin do something wrong in the game that I didn't see?
No, it's because it's Buddy
He
Franklin.
didn't knock someone over and behind play or something?
Nope. And this is what I mean. Like North Melbourne fans booing Horn
Why not
Francis.
boo Mills, Heaney, or
Papley?
any of the other
Papley I
good
can
players?
forgive.
Papley, you boo Papley all day.
He's
Like, he's one of those guys that should be booed.
Horn Francis can be booed by North Melbourne supporters.
Yep, 100%. That's their prerogative. They've got the issue with him.
If Essendon played Port Adelaide in Melbourne, we would have booed Rioli because he knocked out one of our players.
Oh, after the game, yeah, fair enough. After
that happened, we would have booed him, and that's fair enough.
And that's where it would have stopped. It wouldn't have happened
the
year after that. We wouldn't have. I can't remember.
Ex-players, go your hardest. Dirty flog moments in games, go your hardest.
I don't even think ex-players. Like, a player leaves your club.
It depends on the circumstances. I would still happily boo Joe, who's Danaher's a name, you know.
Oh, I don't boo him, but I wouldn't boo Sard. I wouldn't boo.
No, I'd boo Sardi. I wouldn't have booed Monfries. Monfries left on good terms. I wouldn't boo Fantasia. Fantasia left on reasonable terms.
Yeah, no, I'm not that. There was someone was talking about Redmond apparently did an interview during the week, and he was talking, and they said, I do think we'll lose him, and I was like, who gives a fuck if someone leaves the club? Like, if Parrish leaves, who gives a fuck? That's the truth. I don't want guys to stay that don't want to stay. You can fuck off. Go play for another club. Good luck. See ya. I want guys that want to stay. Like Sammy Draper's come out and said, I love this club. I've signed another contract. I don't want to go. That's the guy I want.
I'd care more about Das leaving than Redmond, to be fair.
Can't stop. I don't want to pay him.
No, you can't. If they want to leave, I'm with you 100%. See you later, champ. You don't want to play for the Essendon Football Club.
I'm not paying you double your amounts just because you think that Geelong's going to pay you a good amount of money to go play with geriatrics.
Yeah. On that bombshell,
I
think it's time we wrap up. Not wrap. Don't wrap. Wrap up. Any final comments? No, that sounds.
No. I mean, I just want to see something a bit better.
I think we have to stand back and look at the run and look at the teams we've played and just kind of cop it and go, honourable losses I don't like. I don't like excusing losses. But at the same time,
I don't like losing.
Got to be aware of who you're playing against, where they are in the competition, where we are in the competition.
You're right. You're the bigger man, Sam.
I am huge. On that note, I think that'll just about do it. So I'm surprised we've scraped through to the hour once again. I don't know how we do it. We get to this point and we're good. We're done. You look like you're going to say something. No.
We'll
leave me
to say your wrap up sort of
say
stuff.
my farewells. Okay. Thank you for listening. It's been a really good turnout here on Facebook this evening. Appreciate you all. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere else in the world, we appreciate you as well.
Worldwide, we are. Merchandise, you can get the merchandise at.
Not yet. Let us know what you think. There are going to be a few changes to the jumper. Probably, I'm not overly happy with what we've sort of written on there.
I love it.
It needs to say the Don Pod somewhere, in my humble opinion.
Mysterious. It's like Apple. You just go with the logo.
But
people know the logo.
Big fan of the hat. I love the hat, even though I don't wear it because it makes my head look stupid.
You do have it. Show them your haircut quickly.
Oh no, I did before. You have to wind it back to, and they've got no context. They've never seen me without the hat on.
True.
What do they?
He's had a crew cut, everyone, and he's lucky he's got a good shaped head.
It's the nicest thing Nathan's ever said about me. All right. Yep. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll chat to you next week. Go Dons.
Go Bombers.